Hey, Pretty Girl Club. I want to talk about Glorilla's nose job because I see a lot of black women pretending like they're upset that Glorilla had her nose done. And this is a typical thing that happens with light skinned black women. What a lot of dark skinned black women will do is they will say to that light skinned woman, "Oh, well, you're not even pretty, or you're ugly because you have broader features." But then when that woman goes and changes that feature, then suddenly people will backtrack and be like, "Oh, actually, you looked better before. You looked better when you had the original nose." I just want to say I'm not going to really edit this video, but for a lot of women, they're not mad at Glorilla specifically. They're mad at the potential of other black women with noses like Glorilla getting rid of their noses. So it's that fear of being left behind. And some people are even going as far as saying that she has a Whoville nose. So now they're actually making fun of women with keener features or kind of a more pointy nose. And I just want to talk about how a lot of people call others ugly to make themselves feel powerful. Like, that's why a lot of trolls were calling Glorilla ugly. It's because they see that Glorilla was clearly not ugly originally. They see that she was getting a lot of clout and attention. And so, in order to make themselves feel powerful, jealous women were bringing up her nose size to make her feel like she's less than. Or they were trying to make her feel like she was not as pretty as women with keener features. So, this whole thing about Glorilla's appearance, with black women making fun of her, it was never about her looks. It was always about control. So, whenever people call Glorilla ugly, they feel like, she's easy to ridicule. But the moment Glorilla decided to take things into her own hands and basically go and change the main thing they were making fun of, now that makes Glorilla a threat. Because to the women who were making fun of her, they feel like her getting a nose job is technically a version of leveling up. So believe it or not, some women actually are jealous of plastic surgery, especially in the black community, because you know damn well that a lot of unambiguous black women, as soon as they come into some money, as soon as they get their first million, the first thing a lot of them do is go get a BBL, go get a tummy tuck, go get 360 lipo. So I do believe that it's possible for people to actually be jealous of plastic surgeries. And I've never heard any other creators talk about that before. I hear a lot of creators talk about women being jealous of natural beauty, but I also think women can be jealous of enhanced beauty. They can be jealous of the boldness it takes for somebody to literally just go and just change their whole entire face and just say, fuck it. And another thing too is misery loves company. So we all know that a lot of unambiguous black women talk about experiencing featureism, suffering from featureism. So people make fun of their nose. So when it comes to Glorilla, I feel like Glorilla was relatable to a lot of unambiguous black women who went through featureism, because Glorilla has had her own facial features made fun of. So when you take away those facial features, unambiguous black women can no longer trauma bond with Glorilla over her nose. They can no longer trauma bond with her over that, because one of the main humbling tactics that black women were using against Glorilla was her large nose. And I remember black women doing this to Rihanna too when she first came out. I remember women making fun of Rihanna's nose, her lips, her forehead, saying she looks like an alien. So this is pretty typical for light-skinned women who become famous. If you have any features that are broad, like if you have broader features, then they will make fun of it and say it's too big. But then if you have keen features, they will say you look white, or you have European features and they'll say you look like a white woman dipped in chocolate. So no matter what, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. So this outrage, this is not about women being pro-black. This is not about women actually caring about representing for big noses. A lot of this outrage is actually rooted in jealousy, because when it comes to women who are insecure about their facial features, they feel very stuck. They're stuck. They feel trapped in their own bodies. A lot of them are literally talking right now on TikTok about black fatigue. So they talk about how their own facial features, their own skin tones, their own hair textures cause them to feel fatigue. So in the case of Glorilla, if you look at Glorilla getting this controversial plastic surgery, this super obvious surgery, when somebody gets a surgery and then they stand 10 toes down on it, like how Glorilla is doing, and they're just kind of like showing it off basically, because Glorilla is essentially flaunting it. She's basically saying, "And I did get it." Like basically, who gon' check me? This is how I look, and here's a selfie. So whenever you do something like that, if you're bold enough to actually change something and then it's obvious, and then you stand 10 toes down on it, that's going to trigger people who feel stuck with their own insecurities. And when it comes to plastic surgery, a lot of unambiguous women feel like surgery is a shortcut. So it's almost this mindset of it's not fair. Like, how dare you get a surgery and think you're cute? That's the real reason why people are mad. They're mad because Glorilla, quote unquote, thinks she's cute. Because obviously she was bold enough to go and just post it online when it's not even healed. Her nose is still swollen as fuck. She doesn't care. She's so happy to the point where she's posting it. So that's very triggering because a lot of Black women suffer silently with their insecurities. So when they see someone like Glorilla just fixing it in a few hours and, getting rid of that insecurity, and then she looks happy, she looks unbothered, that sort of shortcut, that threatens their whole identity. Because if you look at a lot of unambiguous women with broader features, a lot of women on makeup tutorials, they've been hiding their nose for years. They've been contouring their noses into oblivion, putting on high yellow concealers and jet black contouring powders to make their noses look as thin as possible. A lot of unambiguous women with broad features have spent thousands of dollars over their lifetime purchasing makeup brushes to contour, all the different shades that they need to contour. So it's almost this mindset of, I've been hiding my nose for years and you just go buy a new one? I punish myself and I spend thousands of dollars per year on getting makeup to contour my nose, and you think you can just go and get a new one? So I think a lot of it is rooted in jealousy because Glorilla essentially was honest with herself and she just took the shortcut. That's why they feel mad, because they feel like, how dare you change something about yourself? So it's that mindset of, you change. You're not allowed to change yourself. Meanwhile, Kelly Rowland, there are so many unambiguous Black women who have had nose jobs. They've completely changed their looks, completely changed their hair textures, wear all kinds of weaves and makeup, and there's no outrage against them. I don't see them having the same outrage against women like Taylor Swift. I don't see them having the same outrage against non-Black women who get nose jobs. But suddenly, when it comes to Glorilla, they want to get mad at her. Why? Well, it's because Glorilla's nose looked more like their noses. Because if you look at a lot of the women on TikTok who are coming against Glorilla, or they're saying, oh, her nose looks bad and she doesn't love herself, a lot of those women actually have noses that are considered big or broad. So part of the reason why the main people triggered are women with broad noses is because it's that fear of being left behind. It's like, wait a minute, if other women who have my features are changing it, what does that say about me? Is there something wrong with me now? So you doing something like Glorilla taking action on her insecurity, it reminds these women that they've been avoiding their own insecurity. So a lot of women, when it comes to their noses, they don't want to confront the fact that they don't like their noses, or they can't afford to change their noses, or they just will contour their noses into oblivion and then lie and pretend like, oh, I love everything about the shape of my nose. I would never get surgery. Well, you don't really know if they would never get surgery because they don't even have the money. So there's no way to truly be able to tell if they would ever get surgery, because it's like, okay, you're broke as fuck talking shit on the internet. Of course you would never get surgery because you would never even have money. But another thing too is when it comes to light-skinned, pretty women like Glorilla, a lot of insecure women, they like you better when you hate yourself. I think that's what a lot of women wanted. They wanted Glorilla to just suffer in silence. They wanted Glorilla to just deal with bullying about her nose for the rest of her life. And Glorilla's not an idiot. Celebrities know that they're going to get dragged no matter what they do. So as an exotical, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. No matter what you do, there's always going to be an unambiguous woman who says you're wrong. So you might as well just do whatever the fuck you want. And I think that some Black women are mad because they thought that Glorilla hated herself. They thought that Glorilla hated her nose, and that made them feel good. Like, haha, that's why Glorilla has a big nose. She probably hates herself. There were women out there who literally were laughing at Glorilla. So it was easier to humble Glorilla. And so by her going out and getting a surgery and basically holding up the middle finger, posting a photo saying, yeah, bitch, this is my new nose. Now what? That's very threatening. So it's not about the nose job. It's about the confidence that Glorilla seems to be exuding after the nose job. Clearly, she's proud of her nose job because she's willing to post it when it's still hella swollen. So I think that's the real reason why a lot of black women are triggered. It's not the nose job in and of itself. It's the confidence. It's the fact that Glorilla has no shame about the nose job. Black women don't actually hate surgery. They don't hate beauty enhancements. What they hate is the freedom that it gives you. They hate the freedom that you have as a light-skinned woman when you have surgeries. They hate the freedom that you have when you change yourself or enhance yourself. That's what it is. They hate the fluid identity that you are going to have access to when you have that combination of maybe a lighter skin tone in Glorilla's case, and then also you have a new nose as well. So that's really what it is. They don't like the fact that she is basically playing into racial ambiguity, because we all know that a lot of people are actually very racist against racially ambiguous people. A lot of people are very racist against mixed people or people who look mixed. And so we all know that with Glorilla getting a smaller nose or like a more keen, more pointy nose, obviously she would be benefiting from featureism in a way. Well, depending on how the nose heals, I don't know. But it's like, they don't hate the surgery. They hate the freedom that it gives you. They hate the ambiguity that it gives you. They hate the social power that it gives you. To a lot of black women, your nose is not just about your face. It's not just about makeup. It's about power. It's a form of social status. A lot of women with inferiority complexes, they view skinny noses or, they view benefiting from featureism, texturism, or colorism as a form of social power. So that's what this is. Glorilla, in their eyes, she is unapologetically seeking after social power, and she's willing to do it via surgery. Because I also saw people making fun of Glorilla for being skinny when she first came out. And then, now people are saying she's rumored to get a BBL or whatever. And it's like, okay, so clearly Glorilla, she's not scared of utilizing surgeries to help her social climb. And I've noticed that with every surgery that Glorilla gets, people are always calling it out. They're always making fun of her. And it's like, okay, but you guys were making fun of her when she had no booty. You made fun of her for being skinny, and you said she had no ass, and then she got a little BBL, allegedly, and now you're making fun of her for that. And then you guys made fun of her nose, and then now she got a new nose, and you're still making fun of her. So do you see how they constantly move the goalpost? Do you see how you're damned if you do, damned if you don't? No matter what you do, there's always going to be somebody out there saying that you're wrong. There's always going to be an unambiguous woman calling you insecure or self-hating. But then, of course, you're not allowed to respond. You're not allowed to call them that. And I also want to talk about self-hate for a minute, because I've noticed that a lot of black women, they also move the goalposts for what's considered self-hate and what's not. It's like, okay, where is the line of self-hatred versus self-improvement? Because I've noticed that they pick and choose what's self-hate. So, for example, when it comes to surgeries, do they call Kelly Rowland self-hating? I haven't seen a lot of unambiguous women say Kelly Rowland is self-hating. She's had a nose job. She has allegedly had a nose job, several other surgeries, changed her entire skin complexion, wears entirely different hair textures than her natural hair texture. So it's like they will bypass some women and then they'll choose to pick apart women like Cardi B or Glorilla. So there's this pattern where anytime you're of a lighter skin tone, anytime you already have access to a privilege, it's almost like they have this reaction of, you're already privileged enough. You're already light-skinned. How dare you try to also get hair texture privilege by wearing a lace front, for example? Or how dare you try to also get a version of featureism privilege by changing your facial features? And for the people who say like, oh, if you change your features, you hate yourself. Okay, so does Glorilla still hate herself, though, if she has a different nose? That's the question I'm trying to get at. It's like, okay, so you guys accuse Glorilla of potentially hating herself because she had a big nose, but now that she has a small nose, does she still hate her nose? Obviously not. It doesn't seem like she hates her new nose because she's flaunting it. So I think that some people, they literally get jealous when you decide to take control over your own body. That's really what it is. A lot of black women, they want to be able to control other women's self-perception. They wanted to control how Glorilla views herself. They wanted to be able to freely bully her about her nose or being skinny or whatever. They want to be able to bully you and have something on you as a humbling tactic. So if you go and change whatever that thing is, if you go and change that, then they can no longer use that as a humbling tactic. Or if they do, they'll try to use before and after photos. But clearly, celebrities don't actually care. This is something that a lot of people will never understand. First of all, cancel culture is not real. So you're not going to be able to cancel Glorilla's career by talking about her nose job. She's still going to be famous. She's still going to be considered beautiful. She's still going to be considered desirable, fake nose or real nose. But another reason people are mad is because they feel like, you're taking a shortcut. So you changed whatever that micro insecurity was. You went and got it surgically changed. And I'm not saying that like everybody should get surgery. I'm not pro surgery or anti surgery on this channel. So I'm not going to promote it, but I'm also not going to shame it. Because a lot of people, they don't shame dark-skinned black women who get surgeries. They only shame the women who already had some form of privilege. And so when they see Glorilla changing her nose, they feel like they've been left behind in terms of beauty standards. They feel like, oh shit, I'm getting left behind because, beauty trends are changing. Have you ever noticed that it's the underprivileged women who complain the most about beauty standard trends? Who usually complains about beauty standards the most? It's the women who don't meet the beauty standards. The women who feel that they don't meet whatever the beauty standard is, those are the main ones who complain. So that's why they're complaining about Glorilla, because Glorilla is a public figure with millions of followers and millions of girls looking up to her. So they feel like, oh, you have a platform. You're basically promoting on your platform that you think skinnier noses are pretty. Because that's really what it is. Whatever your internalized beauty standard is, however you look when you feel like you look your best, that's your beauty standard. So that's why people are mad, because they're like, oh, Glorilla, you're basically promoting button noses. So that's really what the anger comes from. It's about not feeling represented anymore. Isn't that interesting? So they wanted to bully Glorilla for her nose, but they also are mad that she is no longer representing for broad noses. So do you see this mental illness when it comes to light-skinned black women? They want the light-skinned monoracial black women to be their representation, but then they will bully those light-skinned monoracial black women for their features, their facial features. And then if that same light-skinned monoracial woman changes her features, then they'll get mad and be like, wait a minute, why did you change your nose? Why didn't you represent for us big nose girls? And it's like, which one is it? Do you think Glorilla was naturally pretty or not? Because last time I checked, a lot of black women were bullying her and saying she was ugly. I've never seen any men bully Glorilla. I'm not saying that they don't bully her, but I know of men in real life who actually have had a crush on Glorilla. I've never heard of any guys, black or white, say that, oh, Glorilla's nose is so ugly. I've only ever heard black women saying that. So it's interesting because on the one hand, they wanted to be able to bully her for her nose, but on the other hand, they wanted Glorilla to be the big nose representation. And another reason that I feel like people are mad too is because a lot of black women have been taught to shrink themselves or to stay humble, or, a lot of black women have been taught to view glowing up as a form of arrogance. Because I've noticed that a lot of black women, they talk about being raised by toxic black mothers. I've noticed a lot of unambiguous black women, they get made fun of for their beauty enhancements. So it triggers them to see Glorilla having a beauty enhancement and she's celebrating herself, essentially. She's publicly posting herself. She's taking up space on social media. She doesn't care if people make fun of her. And like I said, celebrities in general, they don't care as much as you think they do. If a celebrity was truly scared of you exposing their plastic surgery, they wouldn't get the surgery. Because plastic surgeries are pretty obvious for the most part, especially if you knew what that celebrity looked like before. And so when a person gets surgery, it's almost like they are rewriting how the world perceives them. So you're no longer the big nose friend or the one with the wide, flat nose. You are now kind of the main character in a way. That's why a lot of women end up getting surgeries. So it's threatening to women who have been stuck in that struggle era when it comes to their nose. It is threatening to women who have spent their whole lives struggling with their features and then they can't afford to change it or they don't know how to contour or whatever. That's very threatening to see somebody taking control over their own body. And you guys know I'm very big on your body, your choice. Okay, so I don't care what people do with their bodies as long as they don't throw shade against exoticals. So that's really why people are mad. It's because Glorilla is essentially admitting that she views, I guess you could say, ambiguous women or light skinned women with small noses. She views them as beautiful. So she's representing more so now in terms of her physical appearance. She's representing more so for women who have smaller noses. So that's really what it is. People are mad at a loss of representation in terms of facial features. And also, when it comes to celebrities and stuff, celebrities make money off of their beauty. So we all know pretty privilege is real. So the moment you enhance yourself and you start getting more attention, like if you get a BBL or a nose job or whatever, if you start getting more followers and praise, a lot of women will get mad because Black women have been discouraged from, trying to be pretty, basically. A lot of people in the Black community, they have told Black women that, hey, you shouldn't be pretty because, basically that's shallow. A lot of Black mothers teach their daughters to not emphasize their looks and their appearance. And so when you see a celebrity who is freely emphasizing her looks, she's freely and unapologetically getting surgeries and basically saying, fuck you, I'm not going to deny it. I won't even deny it. So she's not even coming out. She's not doing like the other celebrities where they're like, oh no, I've never done that. No, she's not even going to lie because she doesn't even care. She really doesn't give a fuck. So that's a very tough pill for a lot of Black women to swallow. It's the fact that this world worships beauty. And so a lot of people, there are people who think that the Whoville nose is beautiful because that's what they're trying to call it. They're trying to say that her nose is a Whoville nose. I mean, I guess I apparently have a Whoville nose too then. But it's a hard pill for Black women to swallow because they have to face the reality that this world is biased. This world does reward women who have a certain type of nose, maybe, or a certain type of skin tone, or a certain type of hair texture. So it's causing them to face their own internalized biases when it comes to facial features. It challenges their perceptions on plastic surgery. And it's making unambiguous women who have Glorilla's original nose, it's making them begin to question themselves. And that's why they're mad. Another thing about Glorilla, too, is she didn't ask for permission. It takes a lot of boldness to go out and get a surgery, especially on your face. That takes a lot of boldness, especially when it's on your face and you're in the public eye already. So you've got hundreds of photos. You know how they do before and after photos? It takes a lot of guts to still go out and get a surgery when you have hundreds of photos where millions of people already know what you look like. So whenever a celebrity gets surgery, the real reason people get mad is because that person, they got that surgery without anybody else's approval. They basically were taking control of their own body. They were taking their image into their own hands. So they're mad that Glorilla is no longer going to have that insecurity about her original nose. So a lot of Black women, they liked the idea of Glorilla, this famous, beautiful rapper. They liked the idea of her being insecure, potentially, about her nose. Because that makes her it makes her seem like she's easier to control. So people felt like, Glorilla, you need to stay in your place. People were literally trying to put Glorilla in her place using her own nose. And so now that she has a new nose that she clearly loves, it's almost like she becomes this unpredictable, powerful, unapologetic person. And that scares people who only know how to exist when someone else is beneath them. So for a lot of women with inferiority complexes, feeling like a light-skinned woman is insecure, that makes them feel good because they're like, yes, I'm not the only person that's insecure. She's also insecure. So that makes me feel better knowing that Glorilla has insecurities. Another thing too is that when a woman is, when she feels trapped in her own body, like when she feels trapped with a big nose or whatever, to a lot of women, they like that because they feel like you are less competition. And so another reason why people are mad at Glorilla is because they feel like now she is going to be more competition because she was already light-skinned. Now she's got a little BBL or whatever, allegedly. She's got her body done. And now she also has a little button nose that's going to heal up. And so people won't be able to make fun of her anymore for having a super wide, flat nose. So a lot of people are afraid that Glorilla is now going to outshine them. You guys have heard a lot of content creators talk about the fear of being outshined by a light-skinned black woman. So I think that's a part of what this whole outrage is about. It's the fact that they feel like Glorilla is going to shine more now because people won't be able to make as many memes about her like how they used to. You know how people try to make little funny photos of celebrities? You know how people made fun of Glorilla actually a couple months ago when she showed herself with no makeup? So they won't be able to make those same photos anymore. They basically have to stick to the old photos now. And a lot of unambiguous women, they actually get an ego boost when a light-skinned woman has low self-esteem. Okay, so I said what I said. I know that it's not everyone, but the people who are making fun of Glorilla, that's exactly what this is about. You're mad because you liked the fact that Glorilla had low self-worth when it came to her nose, or that's what you thought about her. You thought that she had lower self-worth. And so now that she no longer even has that nose, what are you going to make fun of now? I mean, I know they're going to make fun of the new nose, like the fake nose. But I think that sometimes when women get plastic surgeries, it's almost like Glorilla is validating herself by posting the pictures of her nose, even with it being swollen. So her validating herself, that makes black women mad because it's like she doesn't need black women to validate her nose. She likes her nose. She knows that her nose looks good. So a lot of people are resentful that Glorilla is basically taking things into her own hands. So they felt like Glorilla was more relatable with her big nose, and now she's less relatable. Have you ever heard people talk about black people being a sellout? That's basically the rhetoric they're trying to give Glorilla. So anytime someone calls you a sellout, what they're really saying is you're no longer relatable. So that's why they're mad. They're just mad because they can't relate to Glorilla's new face. They can't relate to her new nose. They can't relate to her having the money to have plastic surgery. So I talked about how a lot of black women, they bond with other women over insecurity, struggle. It's basically trauma bonding. So now that Glorilla has moved on from that era, she is no longer, I guess you could say she no longer identifies as having like a big nose or whatever. A lot of black women are now feeling abandoned and left behind. So instead of them being happy if Glorilla's happy, you know how people say, oh, I'm happy if you're happy? No, a lot of black women, they're not saying that to Glorilla. So instead of being happy that she did what she wanted to do, they want to guilt trip her. They want Glorilla to feel guilty for how she looks. They want her to feel insecure about this new nose. That's why they're making TikToks saying that the new nose looks bad. Okay, so clearly you don't have Glorilla's best interest at heart because you're literally trying to tell her that she looks bad. That's not somebody that's actually a true supporter. That's how I know it's fake outrage. They just want to use whatever they can to try to put this woman down because it made them feel prettier and safer to think about Glorilla's big nose. Because a lot of black women are saying things, they used to say stuff like, oh, well, I'm black, I'm way darker than Glorilla, and my nose isn't that big. So they were flexing on the fact that Glorilla was lighter than them with a bigger nose than them. Go on Lipstick Alley right now. Go on TikTok right now. Go anywhere on social media right now, and you will see unambiguous dark-skinned black women bragging at the fact that they have a smaller nose than Glorilla. So now they can no longer use that talking point, and that is the true reason why they are mad. It's fake outrage. But what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.